Trapped on an oil rig, stranded in the middle of the ocean on a cold December day, Kaz will have to do whatever he can to avoid being absorbed by an entity of no known origin, and avoid finding out that there are indeed fates worse than death. Before I proceed, I do want to issue out a spoiler warning for the story and the ending of Still Wakes the Deep. The game is a fun, tense experience that has you constantly on edge for what could pop out at you. The game opens up with you playing as Kaz, reading a note from his wife. It is clear from this note that he and his wife are having some relationship issues.
Girls need you a Christmas card.
Fuck. Merry fucking Christmas.
After a look around his room, you are then able to make your way towards the mess hall, where on the way there, you have a chat with some of your mates, first being one of the rig's main mechanics, Finley. She informs you that the rig's manager, your boss, Rennick, got a letter from the mainland about you and it's got him stressed out. Once you arrive within the mess hall, you talk with Brody and Raph. Raph is nervous due to him having his first dive, but Kaz, in his own special way, ensures him that everything will go fine and that he just needs to trust Brody.
Don't worry about it. Brody's got you.
McClary! To my office. That means now, not as soon as you're ready. Now!
Before you can speak to your other friend Roy, Rennick blasts your name over the intercom and demands that you come to his office immediately. You and Roy have a chat, and it is here we learn that Kaz may have done something to upset the law back home. From there, you navigate your way to your boss's office, getting familiar with some of the game's basic controls. Once you reach the office, Rennick informs you that, due to the authorities requesting that you go into their custody, he tells you that there is a helicopter waiting for you and fires you in the process, demanding that you get off his rig.
You're fired. You hear me? Fired.
As you approach the chopper, a loud explosion is heard, and it sends a shockwave throughout the rig. In the process of this, one of the helicopter operators falls off the platform, hanging on for his life onto a beam. Kaz rushes over in a desperate attempt to save the man, but is unable to pull him up. Kaz himself ends up falling into the ocean right after the man. We then see an array of images, interwoven with some sort of flashback with Roy, Kaz, and the former's wife Susie, having a conversation about going to work on the rig and getting out of town before the law comes knocking on the door. You then suddenly wake up, having been saved by Douglas and Brody that saved your life and fished you out of the sea before you drowned. Not sure if you're dead or alive, they drag you into a storage room to go off and look for more survivors. Once you awake, you then make your way back to locate Roy, who is taking refuge in the pantry in the mess hall. You devise an escape plan, and he sends you deeper into the rig. From here, the game takes a very twisted turn, and you do soon realize that something's gone very, very wrong. What was being drilled into by you and your crew wasn't just oil. An unknown, potentially sentient force has begun to consume not only the crew, but the structure itself. This bizarre mixture of biomass and steelworks grows more and more extensive as it works its way throughout the rig, sustaining itself with some mysterious tube that cycle a mysterious substance throughout the entire mass of the entity. A rig that had been the very emblem of human design and industry now has become a grotesque blending of flesh and machine. The whole process is fascinating and disgusting. While we never get to see the central creature itself, we can only see the effects on our fellow crew members. They become thralls, twisted monstrosity, akin to the movie The Thing. These hulking masses of exposed flesh and tissue creep around the rig, killing whoever they come across. The grotesque form that assumes an appearance of a vile mix of human and alien biology does instill a sense of fear in Kaz. Unfortunately for Kaz, there is no handy flamethrower to deal with these abominations. You do figure out though later on in the game that fire itself, as well as blunt force trauma, can kill these thralls.
Shit.
Every encounter with these thralls takes on a desperate struggle, a careful game of cat and mouse, where if you're spotted or seen, you're almost certainly dead. The thought of an entity that can not only kill you and eat you, as we do chickens or cows, but also consume you and combine you with itself is truly terrifying. Imagine the horror of not only facing death, but becoming part of the very creature that killed you. Do you stay alive in the process? Are you merely a passenger in your own body, feeling every cell being altered and twisted by an alien force? The fear of losing autonomy of your own body and being trapped within your own flesh is a nightmare that almost transcends fear itself. Combine this with the fact that the entity never sleeps, is relentless in its pursuits, and is driven by what is seemingly an insatiable hunger, makes it almost a perfect predator. Still Wakes the Deep is a game that masterfully blends existential dread with the visceral fear of being hunted. While on the rig, you constantly feel hopeless as you navigate through a maze of steel pipes and machinery in a desperate bid to escape. The game captures the essence of survival horror, where your wits and reflexes are your only defense against a foe that is both physically overpowering but psychologically tormenting.